Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is Renegade Operative here, and I wanted to finally be available to give my overall first impressions on MGO, or Metal Gear Solid Online 3. This is overall my critical opinion on what I thought about playing it after about roughly 3 or 4 days, and certainly this is a mixed bag scenario with what I feel with the game. Now, obviously, if I got mad or pissed at the multiplayer, then I think the ideals that I stated earlier are true to me, and is that in a lot of degrees, when you put in very ridiculous perks, weapons, or items within a game's multiplayer, that gives an unfair advantage to some players, and it's not perfect by any means. If there's going to be a conundrum in the mix, there's no perfect game that exists, right? Even if there are games that are 10 out of 10, it might vary from person to person, so I believe firmly that there is no multiplayer that's perfect. Something might be fine-tuned or fair, but one may have an issue one way or the other depending on the situation. Now, going into the meat of the topic, Metal Gear Online features 3 competitive modes. Bounty Hunter, which basically means your team versus the enemy team, and it's a battle to the death, or it's a battle to fulton them in the air and get more points pretty much, but it's sort of like Team Deathmatch. You have Cloak and Dagger, where defenders have to stop attackers from stealing away sensitive material under the guise of stealth camouflage. This really reminded me of CTF, Capture the Flag, where you're taking something away from the enemy and you're going from point A to point B. And then there's Comm Control, which is another variant when you're capturing the points. Pretty much like Team Objective in Uncharted. You stay in one point and you capture it. The enemy team who captures all of the points and gets the most points before the round ends takes it home. There's only 2 modes in total where it rotates whether you're attacking or defending, and that is the objective modes. Any huge point spread seems to determine whether you win or lose for the deathmatch variant. I believe getting quick stuns on enemies and fultoning them means that it's more of a point spread, so it's hilarious that you'll be capturing more guys on Bounty Hunter than killing them than anything else. I'll get into the good and bad of this experience, and I will note the obvious because some of the same problems that I may be having might be some of the same complaints that everyone else is having when it comes to fully competitive matches. There have been some absurd, janky surprises that I am amazed made it off the cutting room floor. Let's start off with the bad, because when it comes to the good, bad, and ugly, you usually want to get the bad and ugly out of your face. First off, walker gears are absolutely broken. I have seen comments that told me that half a magazine would do them in, and in my experiences, that has never been the case and has always been falsified. I usually take 2 full mags to take these things out, and it should never ever be like that. The only thing that truly took these things off of their feet was either getting behind the player while they're in the walker gear and opening fire, maybe sniping them, getting in a turret and being perfectly aligned against the player with the walker gear because that destroyed them much faster, or using explosives. If a player is in a walker gear and you're going up against them head to head, then 80% of the time you're going to get killed or knocked out by a CQC. It's the absolute truth, but when it comes to my experience, it was aggravating. The leveling up system also does not help. It's so painstakingly slow in order to get access to explosive classes that might be designed to take walker gears out. The only way they can please me is either have an option to remove mechs from lobbies, whether it be public or private, have players vote on it, increase the damage output that the walker gears can take, or give us explosive classes without having to level up. The grenades are not doing the trick either, because half of the time these things will sway out of the blast radius. Another thing, speaking on grenades, and this is the perfect segue, but another thing is that grenades seem worthless in my opinion. I'm not talking about sleep grenades, those are absolutely perfect. I'm talking about your routine frags, which is weird. Why can you not cook grenades for some weird reason? On top of this, the reload animation seems to take a millennia to perform, and the wind-up throw for the grenades take forever. You see where I'm getting at here. I just wish that things were a bit faster in these regards when you're reactionary and you're trying to get a beat on the opposing player so you can have a second chance in the midst of an intense firefight. Another horrific thing is that the enemy spawns are terrible. They are abhorrent. They are a mess. as a pro tip, I would recommend not to buddy spawn or spawn in headquarters in general, because I have witnessed instances where the entire enemy team was in World War III, initiated right in front of me, and since the spawns have this short delay to load your character back into visibility, it wouldn't be hard for someone to train their sights on you to look immediately your direction, and you can have yourself a good old-fashioned spawn death as they gun you down. Nobody likes being spawn killed, no one appreciates being spawn killed, and we can all attest to the fact that spawning an enemy HQ is completely stupid. The way they can remedy this is that random spawns should be far and further between. Take out the option to spawn on that exact enemy base, otherwise I'm sure this is going to be exploited in the community one way or the other if it hasn't already by hardcore players who want to just cheat through a match. The last issue that I have is just the CQC at times can be really finicky, ridiculous even, as in not working properly, not indicating properly. People somehow being revived, instantly standing in front of you when they are shot down from a Fulton. They could CQC you instantly into the dirt. It all feels janky with the presentation and activation, and I wish it was just a little bit more fair in its fluidity. I've had guys reel me into CQC 8 feet away, and this is why I never complain about Uncharted having this silly little elbow punch, or The Last of Us requiring you to be absolutely close as possible to your enemy to deal out melee damage. It all seemed to work in those games compared to this one, because when I ran into a melee fest, it just turned to a convoluted mashing spree, and I'm sure everyone can attest to me when they say that button to wake up out of sleep is horrible. You have to keep mashing your way with the left stick and keep pressing triangle, and you'll probably never wake out of that sleep in like a minute. Good luck trying that after the 8th or 10th skirmish where your hands have been turned into mincemeat. Other than that, I know it makes the game sound really terrible by me talking like this, but Metal Gear Online has its high points. They do exist in the eye of the beholder, and I genuinely do think that it's worth it to give it a shot. I do enjoy the fact that you can utilize a lot of high precision moves within the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5 converted to the multiplayer of MGO. They have things like fast tackles, rocket punches, and first person aiming that alleviates a lot of the tension that I initially realized. I also appreciate the random variable of either playing as Big Boss or Ocelot in these skirmishes, and I know some players would object to playing as their custom avatar on its own, but I actually like these variables. They keep things random and entertaining. I would like to see more of these along the lines, and they can always go insane with it. They can always go crazy with more new additions if we ever get that aforementioned survival mode someday. The whole Metal Gear experience exists within MGO. You can get into cardboard boxes and you can slam into enemies. You can use toy pups to distract people. You can throw people in wormholes created around the map. This gives you a freshly unique experience that feels like one that's only synonymous with Metal Gear. It feels like an actual Metal Gear game online opposed to so many tacked on and uninspired multiplayer games on the market. I also had zero issues with the damage output either. In fact, I think it felt perfect. When you take a slew of shots, you will eat the pavement. Unlike various twitch shooters, which personally only makes me feel extra cautious, MGO doesn't make it seem like running around for what feels like 2 steps ahead is a death sentence when you have a very low health output to deal with. I hope no updates in the future is made to the health to the humans, as it is perfectly fine the way it is in my opinion. I can't say that I'm not just a little disappointed with the lack of variety in modes for MGO, but it wasn't easy to put the controller down. I just think they need to work on some things, and I believe MGO has the capability to be a beast within the online department. Just some cheap and broken things exist that can ruin the game in the long term due to exploits that may fall upon it. If Konami will listen to feedback, then I won't doubt these issues will be ironed out as time progresses. But with all things that exist as a deciding factor, only time is going to tell about how the longevity of this game will turn out and span into something more desirable or not. We'll see what happens. Until then, This is Renegade Operative signing off. I hope you guys have enjoyed this first impression video of Metal Gear Solid Online, or Metal Gear Online 3, or Metal Gear Online, whatever you call it. So many various names, but it has its kinks here or there. As always, enjoy yourselves and peace out for now.